Erickson. He would send people to the library to look at old Newsweeks and to look at old National Geographics to change the meaning of attractive. And he'd have people go out and to do different jobs so they get a sense that there were different jobs to do in the world. Because most people are coming at things too narrow a choice. I'm reading this wonderful book by Dennis Wood called The Power of Maps. And Wood starts out with this metaphor about the different types of maps and how they make the world real. And then he says, and he thinks about your own life in the physical world. And you think of the ribbon, the line that you carve through your journeys, and you know a little bit what's on either side of that road, and maybe a block over. And all the rest of the map is empty. Because you don't know what's there. Like driving up here to Winter Park. You know what's right next to the road. But what's even 100 yards off that road? Well, trees. But mountains, right. But you see how much you have to abstract and generalize. You don't know about that brook that's there, or that spring, or that moose that's right over there, and so on and so on. And the idea that he brought up that I was touched with is the same thing in every other part of our life. That if we have a career or a political position or an understanding about relationships or how to run a business, is that it's a narrow road that we've seen either side of. And so in this sense, I really get like reading biographies and autobiographies about adventures, about listening to other people's stories. These are all different ways to gather up other possibilities, to be able to generate other options that can be applied to finding more choices. And Grinder would say, the language that we have now is a relic of a past that says if you pay attention to this, you'll survive. The question is survival good enough? Leslie used to put it a different way. She says, I want people to thrive. I like that word. And so this is about thriving. Now, to get there, more practice, more integration. You put a lot of time into this, and we need to integrate it better. And the way we're going to do that is something that we call pattern detection. In your notes, you'll find a page on pattern detection. It happens to be 6 in the last section. And there's a number of different domains of experience that you can pay attention to. You can pay attention to the person's language, what we call the meta-model violations. Do they use a lot of nominalizations? Do they use universal quantifiers? Always, everywhere? Do they speak in the abstract? Do they speak in the sensory-based? You can listen for the predicates. See what I mean? Get a feeling for that? Does it ring true for you? You can notice physiology shifts. A person leaning forward, engaged, dissociated, leaning back. You can watch for the eye-accessing cues, the strategies, what's going on there as the person computes. That's really great actors and actresses. It's really interesting. Now, De Niro, I know, is an old guy for most of you. One of the things I've always admired about him is he thinks on screen. You can watch him think about something. And whether he knows anything about this or not, I don't know. I know they train people where they go, I see what you mean. Yes, as opposed to people who are they're there and they're reasoning about it, and you can see, the kind of and the eyes and so forth. So this is another avenue, behavioral incongruence. Saw a little of that earlier, and of course, outcome well-formedness. Now here again, I'm talking about building parts within you that have competence in each of these areas. The way to do that is to freely restrict yourself to following one or two of those. I'm going to suggest that these two go together, and that would mean, and we'll put this one here too. There we go. So we got strategies, we got physiology, we've got language, we've got behavioral congruence. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So one person in your group is going to pay attention to the meta-model. What kind of language? How do they build their model of the world when they talk about things? Do they use limits like can't? Do they use modal operative necessity? Should. Do they use a lot of nominalizations? Do they use unspecified verbs? How do they do it? Another person's going to be watching physiology. Now, you want to watch that as if it's a film, as if you can watch the person go, they go, and you begin to see this dance in the body. This is one of the values of videotape. If you can get a hold of some, is you videotape people you work with their permission, of course, and you play it fast, and you begin to see bloop, 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 over and over again. Because people have patterns. Someone else is going to be watching the I-axis, the whole strategy. You know, how do they do their strategy? You can hear it in the words, in the eye movements. What is the sequence that they use? The other is going to be looking for behavioral congruence, incongruence. Because people are all the time. You consider something, you go, what's that? Incongruence, congruence. And of course, someone is going to be tracking a well-formed outcome because there are two other people in the group. There's going to be the explorer who is going to now present you with anything she or he desires to. It's so much easier when you say to the person, so you want this future and we're going to make this future happen. Right? As opposed to the person comes and sits down and they can describe a problem, they can describe what they want. It's up to you to guide them. Now, so that this person realizes it's not a free-for-all, right? This is an opportunity for you to get clear on some other goal, some other outcome in your life. And, given the time we have, actually get it. Go from the interview to the behavioral change. So, it behooves you to want to do something sincere. And if you're uncertain about it, if you're unclear about it, that would be a really good one to bring, wouldn't it? Because then you could actually get it cleared up. Meanwhile, there's going to be 6 people arrayed around you. One of those people is going to be listening to your language. One of those people is going to be watching your strategy. One of those people is going to be noticing physiology shifts. Another, behavioral incongruence. Another, the outcome well-formedness. All of those people are in service to the guide who will be asking the questions. None of these people get to ask the question. Only the guide gets to ask the questions. And of course, after 5 minutes, we stop. Each of you gives a report to the guide. And the guide can utilize that information, continue for a few more minutes. And then you're going to switch roles. Because the idea is to get practice in each of these. Yeah? Are we getting it here? So we've got, across here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah? So if we could bring up, come on up. Yeah. And we'll have you sit there. And who else can I engage? Right there. Yeah. You're it. Oh, wait. Israel. Israel, come on up. Change. This is change client strategy. No, you come on up here. All right, have a seat.
Last day.
All right. So you're the designated explorer. You're the client. You're the person that's now got an opportunity to find out something more. Like you could specify an outcome. There might be a problem you'd like to figure out, what you want to do about it. And you're going to be assisted in this by your able guide, Ken. And now over here, what are each of your roles? You have 5 roles. Pick them quick. What's that? Okay, you're the meta model person, right?
Physiology shifts.
Physiology shifts.
I do strategies.
You're doing strategies.
I-accessing.
Oh, that's strategy, so we've got these 2.
Okay, behaving congruently.
All right, so King, congruence. Chris?
I'll do that.
All right. So, as we say in technical NLP, have at it.
So he's wanting to find something he wants to understand better.
Yeah, but you'll want to talk to him.
Just making sure.
Well, now you're the NLPer now. You're that far from certification. So, utilizing and drawing up a resourceful state, bringing to mind these skills. What's the first question you want to ask him?
What can I do for you today? How are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
I'm good. What can I do for you today? Why are you here?
Oh, I'm here just with a little problem.
Well, what kind of little problem are you working on?
See, I want to have I have a goal in my life that I want to be an effective preacher and a loving person. That is my goal.
An effective preacher and a loving husband.
And loving person.
Loving person. Okay, I misunderstood.
This is good.
Okay. I was thinking you were a priest, and so it took me back a little bit.
No problem. Yeah.
Okay. So, what is it that you need to be an effective preacher?
What do I need?
What does being an effective preacher? What does that do for you? What does that mean to you?
Oh, it means a lot to me. That gives me some kind of satisfaction that empowers me and empowers other people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you become more empowered.
Yes.
And other people are able to.
I feel experience. Yes. And I feel that this effective preaching has to do something with the society.
Okay.
All right, now, we can pause there, and we can get reports from each of these people about where we are with it. Now, they're your resource team.
Okay.
So they can give a report, you could ask a question. The idea, though, is you want to get a bit of crisp, accurate information, not a total recap. So, let's just start at the end there. What did you find out?
He didn't shift a lot when he was saying. He was tapping his feet, and he had his fingers in a gesture, and he was pointing toward his chest when he was talking about his higher outcome.
All right, so.
As far as his outcome goes, I kind of want to know what effective preaching means and what does he mean by a loving person. So a little more specific.
Nice and crisp, yeah. And then, Ken, you're taking some sort of mental note, I suppose.
Doing the best I can.
That's right.
And you want to know what his strategies have been so far to get to what he wants, and if it's needed to be changed.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and what did you find out about his strategy so far?
Not much.
Okay, so pending on that.
I found him, he used a lot of nominalization. He said satisfaction, experience, all this nominalization. Also, he used a lot, but I don't remember which it came when we used
So you used a lot.
Yeah.
There was very little incongruent behavior. You were emphatic when you stated what you wanted to be and become, and you were aligned in your eyes, your body language, your voice.
Okay.
Consistent.
So we're going to pause on this, and what I'm going to do is actually, since I formed the group here, I'll invite you to continue, is can we get another round or two? And again, like 2 minutes, stop, get a report. Because this is about training, because maybe Ken hadn't noticed that there were nominalizations. Maybe you had. Maybe you hadn't thought of pursuing the way it was suggested to chunk down. Maybe you had. But the idea is you've got all these other meta people tuning you and offering you this so you can take this skill with you. As for you, you just keep being yourself.
Yes.
All right? So I think we've got another group here that you can make another group on the other side of the room and continue with this we're going to do about 10, 15 minutes of this. Again, this is the kind of thing where you really pay attention, you go for the strategies, and you're going for the language and so forth, and then you get to let go, and you'll be surprised how much more you're going to be noticing each time on. All right? So we got a group here. Let's form another group now. And you guys can continue right there.
Yeah.
Earlier today, I made a little fun of Picasso. Those of you who know his personal history, that as an early teenager, he was spotted as being someone who was exquisite at rendering in a line the curve of the cheek, the shoulder, and was packed off to art school and went through several successive different kinds of styles, which he was full and complete, the rose period, the blue period. In fact, in Chicago, in the Art Institute, is the famed picture of the elderly man bent over, playing on a guitar with this dark shadow. And if you sit there quietly, soften your eyes, you'll begin to see the outline of a woman in a dark coat, which is he's singing about. So this kind of fame began to bring Picasso different commissions. And, of course, as we know, he went from that period into what became known as Cubism. And one of these commissions, which were often the wives of the petty bourgeoisie, came back and said, he's made a